This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Very pleasant good evening. Time for Startup Talk, brought to you by Indian River State College and Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. And now the host of the show, entering his second decade on this show. Well, it just seems that long. Tom Kindred.
Yes. Thank you, Greg, and welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. And as I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time together during our hour this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance programs that exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am indeed Tom Kindred, and I serve as the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center here at Indian River State College. Our show today is powered by the SBDC at IRSC and our friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, how are you this evening?
Doing well.
All right. We've got Pioneer basketball tomorrow.
Yes, 2 home games, and we've had the Veterans Classic tomorrow night. Veterans will be honored between the 2 games. First game's at 5:30. It's going to be Kaiser and Palm Beach State, and I'll be scouting both clubs because we have Kaiser on Saturday afternoon, and we'll be playing Florida National for the very first time. It's a college out of Hialeah with about 2,800 students.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so tomorrow night, what time's that all start tomorrow night?
5:30 first game,
at the main campus in the gym.
Yep, 7:30 second for IRSC. In between games, they'll be honoring the veterans.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, and then Saturday, more play?
Yep, 2 o'clock is going to be Palm Beach State, and then we'll be playing in the 4 o'clock game.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, great weekend of basketball. And now, did you tell me normally games are no charge, but there is a charge for this one?
There is a charge, and all the money that received will go to the veterans groups of St. Lucie County. Mm-hmm. And during the basketball broadcast tomorrow, I will be giving the actual street address of IRSC, because if for some reason you want to write a check, do that too, and it'll be just sent to Charlie Wilson, the basketball coach, IRSC, and it'll go to the foundation. The foundation will cut the checks. So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, very cool.
So weekend of basketball, I guess pay once, stamp your hand. You can come back on and watch some more games, I guess, if you had to. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Okay. All right, good stuff. I was your guest. I guess it was time flies. Last week, we spoke at halftime. I was very impressed. Yeah, very impressed with the team this year.
They're athletic, and they won on election night by 1 over in Sarasota. First game I've missed in, 5 years. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm impressed. And, again, as I always tell people, it's a great opportunity to come out, normally free of charge to come to any Pioneer athletic event. But it's a great opportunity for families to come out and see high-level college, collegiate athletics. And the basketball team really was impressive the other night. So, very impressive.
I was kidding with the head coach over at Polk College. We're going to be there Thursday. And he's added 2 more Serbians to his team. So I said, Coach, come on. You're going to have 4 guys with names. There's no way I can pronounce them. I said, thanks a lot. And he said, I do it just for you. Yeah, it's a great guy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Greg, I probably have shared with you, maybe I have, but I've long had an idea that I have wanted to implement. I've in some way, either my first idea was to do it as an article in the paper, kind of a Sunday article.
Paper, I've heard of that.
I know, and I don't know if I don't even know if we have those anymore. But since we now have the control of the IRSC Startup Talk radio show, I've long been wanting to put this together. So we're going to launch a segment of this show that I hope to do periodically from time to time. But I'm calling my segment tonight "Treasure Coast Legends of Business." And what I've always wanted to do is bring in some folks that have been in business for many years and recognize these folks and highlight what's going on in our local business community. I want to recognize those businesses that may have started along the Treasure Coast, started here in St. Lucie County, grown the business, accelerated the business here. Maybe they're in a second and third generation ownership of the business. So today is my first installment of Treasure Coast Legends of Business, and I think I've started with two of the greatest legends. Legendary business owners and operators with us tonight are Mr. Joey Miller of St. Lucie Battery and Tire and Mr. Johnny Stamm of Stamm Manufacturing. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, when I tell you that these are legends, they are legends because I'm old. And it shows on my face.
Whenever you say old, you're always looking at me. I don't understand.
Right,
that.
I am old, and and these guys have been around since I was a kid, and I can tell you that I'll start with my stories tonight. But I remember when Johnny Stamm was on 39th Street, and I'll never forget. I had a little problem with my Jeep, and my father said, "Well, I'll tell you who can fix that. We're taking that out to Johnny Stamm." So I remember bringing my Jeep out to 39th Street. Is that where you started, Johnny? Is that?
Yeah, basically
Yep.
that's where Stamm Manufacturing got started,
Yep.
doing the repair work for a lot of small companies around town, and then, a lot of the local people,
Right.
the local people really got me started good. I mean,
Right.
I go back to, I want to mention one just to break the ice here. Henry Jernigan, he was an old realtor, and he had a Land Rover, and he had problems with it, and he took it to the Land Rover dealer in Melbourne, and they just couldn't find a problem, and he brought it to me, and that's the first time I worked on a Land Rover, and and we found a problem in his transmission because he couldn't get it in four-wheel drive, and so he spread the word to some of the other people around town, like Spencer Gilbert and some of the other people who had Land Rovers. So I first started off doing a lot of Land Rover work, and one thing just keeps going on.
Well, good. Well, save it because I want some more stories.
And
But
Johnny, you need to know he's still driving the Jeep.
listen, I wish I had that Jeep. And then we've got Joey Miller with us, and I'm telling you now, we go way back with Joey Miller. Now I remember,
truth.
as a youngster on my grandfather's car lot on Orange Avenue.
I remember that.
That's right. I remember Mr. Miller. He would sell and deliver batteries, and you actually did it. You drove the van.
I did.
Yeah.
Not only drove the van, I rebuilt the batteries.
Right. So
Wow.
so these two gentlemen really are truly legends in business, and I cannot tell you, gentlemen, I am so proud and honored to have the two of you business leaders. You have invested your money, you have invested your time, you have employed over the years hundreds of local residents. You've taken your profits and you have reinvested those profits in your business and in this community. And I'm proud and honored to have you on the show tonight. So again,
Thank you very
thanks for
much.
being with
It's
us
really
tonight.
our pleasure. Our
All right.
pleasure. Thank you.
So as we always do, let me just quickly start with a couple of upcoming activities, then we're going to get immediately to Joey and Johnny, because I can tell you there's no telling what's going to come out tonight. Skeletons may be uncovered.
Do
here
I
tonight.
need to call our FCC lawyer?
Clear the lines.
That's right. Everybody sit back, relax, put the children to bed. It's Legends of Business in the studio tonight. Very quickly, great event, and I think a very timely event as we welcome a new president. We've got the U.S. economy, national and global. It's a global economics panel put on by the Center for Applied Economics at Indian River State College. Going to have about 4 or 5 speakers, going to touch on all kinds of economic issues, the economic forces that propel international trade, understanding gold investing, the minimum wage, should it be raised or not, economics of contract farming, all put on by the economics department at Indian River State College. That'll take place Wednesday, November the 16th. at 5:30 in the evening at the Kite Center, which is in the back of campus right off of 35th Street. So again, incredible, offering of folks going to talk about the economy, the Global Economics panel taking place on Wednesday, November the 16th, 5:30 at Indian River State College.
You need to shoot that with your television camera, make it part of your TV show.
Gosh, that's right.
Would that be
do
cool
that.
or what?
That might be a good idea.
Yeah,
Thank you, Greg.
good.
You always got the good ideas. Now, just real quickly, rattle off a couple of upcoming events, trainings. We've got How to Start a Small Business taking place on November the 15th down at the Moorgate Library in Stuart, Florida. Again, if you've been considering starting your own small business, now, after what you hear tonight, you may not want to from people that have been doing it. This may be a good cure for wanting to start your own business. But if after tonight you're still interested in starting your own business, we've got a workshop and seminar for you, How to Start a Small Business, November the 15th, 10:30 in the morning till 12 noon down in Stuart. We've got sales training for small business owners. Do you and your staff need to brush up on your sales skills? This class helps you learn to grow your revenue, increase your average sales, and close the deal. That'll take place down at the Chastain campus down in Stuart on November the 15th. Again, from 10 to 12, sales training for business owners. We've got our most popular class, An Excellent Business Plan. Congratulations on your decision to open a new small business or change your existing one. Now you must take the step to put your thoughts on paper. So, Excellent Business Plan will take place on November the 16th at the Indian River County Chamber of Commerce office up in Vero. That, again, is a morning class, 9:30 to 11.
A what?
It's called a business plan, Greg.
Business plan. Let me write that
Johnny
down.
and Joey are going to tell you about business plans.
Okay.
They'll
I'll
tell
talk
you.
to them after the show.
All right, and then finally, marketing your business. If you're currently running your business and you believe that you're the best kept secret in town, or you're just not getting the amount of business you think you should, then sign up for this workshop. That'll be down at the Hope Sound Public Library on November the 16th in the evening, 5:30 to 7:30. That is marketing your business. And as I always tell you, all of these seminars, workshops, and training are brought to you by your local SBDC office and our partners at SCORE. The most important detail to remember about these training sessions is that the majority of them are provided free. That's no cost. There is no cost to attend some of these events, nor is there any cost to engage the SBDC and one of their consultants. I tell people all the time, back when I was in business, if I had taken the time to become engaged in and participate in the business assistance programs offered at Indian River State College, I am confident I could have been a better manager, owner, and operator. The college, its president, Dr. Massey, and the board of trustees have done an incredible job of building what I always like to call a very powerful one-stop shop for business assistance and support through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. The EDI, as we call it, is made up of that SBDC, the Corporate and Community Training Institute, and our Business Incubation Program. You can always get the latest on all of those programs and upcoming activities at the IRSCbiz.com site. That's IRSCBIZ, and check out the events calendar. As always, a big thank you to the SBDC and their consultants and our partners at SCORE as they perform their work in assisting and supporting our region's business community. So with all that, got a lot coming up, got a lot going on as we work our way into the end of the semester and into the Christmas break. So again, let me reintroduce what I am calling as our first segment of the Treasure Coast Legends of Business. Mr. Joey Miller of St. Lucie Battery and Tire, and Mr. Johnny Stamm of Stamm Manufacturing. Again, gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight.
Thanks, Tom, for having us.
We appreciate you taking out time. I know that after a long day of work, and I know both of you work, you put in your 10, 12-hour days, you probably would just as soon go home. So we appreciate you taking the time to come be with us. So, again, Johnny, we'll kind of start with you. Give us a little bit of a brief history of Stamm. You started, your claim to fame is you're the Land Rover guy. Is that how it all started?
Well, everybody has to have stepping stones. That was one of them. We originally started off, my goal was to do the repair work for the main fleets around the area, like Coca-Cola, RC Cola, Borden's.
Right.
And started as a fleet shop. That was our goal, to maintain their equipment, and from Sears and Roebuck to Haverty Furniture.
That's a great model. I mean, a great
yeah,
idea.
well, those were the basis. They're the ones that gave us the, should I say, the work and the finances to keep growing. You know, I originally started with 2 employees, and wasn't long after that, within a year, we were at 5 employees. And, you know, from there on, we just, into the 70s, we were still doing a lot of that, and with the repair work and the fleets. And then I started expanding into other things. I saw that the equipment on the back of the truck, such as the bodies, they were needing a lot of maintenance and et cetera. So later in there, we started doing a lot of the body work. Then we started building bodies. And then you talk about changing times. I saw the aerial.
I don't want to do that too soon, because that's my. I want to talk about that, because that's where I really think, you know, again, Johnny, I think that's really some of your genius is the way that you were, you know, growing Stamm manufacturing. But that we'll stop there for a minute. Stop there, and then
I'm stopping.
Let me talk to Joey for a minute. So Joey, let's start with you now. Give us a little history of St. Lucie Battery and Tire. I mean, you got a great history with the company.
Well, the beginning of St. Lucie Battery and Tire was actually St. Lucie Batteries. When I was selling used batteries to your grandfather and a multitude of other car dealers. Actually, it was a side business. I was really a farmer. I was in the egg business. And back in the 60s, you don't remember the 60s.
I don't remember the 60s too
well. But in the
60s,
when summertime came, you know, Fort Pierce just kind of, the sidewalks kind of rolled up, and there was just nothing happening. There wasn't that, maybe 20,000 people lived in the whole county. And some guy from Palm Beach came up one day, and he happened to be in the egg business also. He said, I can teach you how to make some extra money. And that's how I wound up. He taught me how to rebuild automotive batteries.
Wow.
And back then, you took them apart, and you moved cells around and welded the straps back on and charged them up and balanced the acid, and we sold them. And believe it or not, when your granddad had his car lot, I would take a rebuilt battery to his lot, put it in his car, and install it, and I would get $7. And believe it or not, it started from that. And then after I did that for 2 or 3 years, I started selling new batteries to complement the used battery sales, because some people didn't want to buy just a used battery, so I got into that. And that went on for 2 or 3 more years. And in 1972, a friend of mine came to me and said, Joey, you're still a farmer, and you're selling batteries. We want you to start selling tires for Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau was a farm organization that had their brand of tires for their members. I said, you know, I don't know anything about selling tires. Well, just try it. Well, I tried it, and I was selling them out of one of my old chicken houses. Had mostly farm tires, tractor tires, and some truck tires, and it lit a fire. And then I did that for 3 or 4 years. In fact, I was fortunate enough in the Farm Bureau tire program. I was a number 2 tire dealer for Farm Bureau in the state of Florida. That was in the 70s. And then I started handling other brands, and that helped me. And then, believe it or not, getting in the tire business is what catapulted my battery business. The two meshed. It fit the community. Where we were was way west of town, 4 miles from downtown. It was way west of town, out in the boondocks. And we catered to our backbone customer was the agricultural customers. And at that point, we became St. Lucie Battery and Tire. And that was in 1978, 79.
I do have a complaint that the last tires we got had chicken feathers all over them.
Well, if you'd have bought them 10 years ago, they'd have had more chicken feathers, that's all.
You got less today. Johnny, when did Stamm Manufacturing start? Joey's mentioned the 60s. How old is Stamm Manufacturing? When did it start?
1968.
1968. And Joey, first batteries you rebuilt were in the 60s.
Yes. 64, 65.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Been around that long.
Yes.
So let's fast forward. And now I just want to, again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but fast forward me, Johnny. We'll start with you. Talk about just modern day Stamm manufacturing. What, where are you located now, and what do you do today?
Well, we're located at 4850 Orange Avenue. We're about 40,000 square foot building on 10 acres of land, and we actually have a dealer network that sells our products that we manufacture here. Let me just give you a quick rundown on who we manufacture for. That would fit better right now. We're primarily to the sign industry, the people who put up signs as you ride up and down the street that say, like the Cracker Barrel signs and, those type of vehicles that erect those signs, and the small ones. And the mom and pop sign companies all over the United States. We ship as far away as the state of Washington and Canada.
Wow.
And then we also, with the traffic light department. The traffic light department is throughout the whole United States, and when you see a sign put up or a maintenance of a traffic light, we cover that industry all the way through the whole United States as well.
Right.
So we got 20 guys in the shop manufacturing, and we have a dealer network that we set up. And right now we're doing a large order for 21 units for DOT New York, and we just finished some units for working in the tunnels for the Boston, the tunnels that go from one side of Boston to the other, for maintenance of the lights inside the tunnels. We've designed a special truck for them.
Wow.
So these are
our
like bucket trucks?
These are aerial devices, that's correct.
Okay.
Man lifts, as you might want to call it, a man lift aerial device. And then we've also picked over the years, we got into doing a lot of business through the Caribbean. We go all the way down to Venezuela and everywhere else.
Yeah. And again, I want to talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. So Joey, same question to you. Just let take me right up to today. I mean, where is St. Lucie Battery today? I mean, what do you've gone beyond batteries and tires? I mean, you're complete service.
Yes. With the advent of the shrinking of the citrus industry, I felt that it was necessary to expand our footprint. We did a real good job for the agricultural community, and they were very good to us. But then when situations came about that they were losing their crops through disease and pricing, and I felt like we were too concentrated in one area, so we went out and started considering doing more commercial retail. We opened a store in Port St. Lucie, which is still there. The same partner manager is still there after 35 years. That was my first move. And
is that the one on US 1?
US 1,
Okay.
down in Port St. Lucie. And my next door was our little gem that's right downtown on US 1 and Orange Avenue, which we've been there 15 years.
Which you did a great job renovating the historic Western Auto store.
Yes. And since then, and my son is now in charge. He's just signed his deal on his 14th store. Now he's got stores all the way from Palm Beach to Sebastian, Okeechobee, and Vero Beach. And he's looking for more. I'm kind of winding down, and he's winding up. So, but it's a great feeling to number one, see your kids picking up the ball and running with it. And number two, we live in one of the best places in the world as far as we're concerned. We have great friends, great customers, and that's the most important thing. And the rest of it's just taking care of the customer. Always take care of the customer like you want to be taken care of, and you'll be fine.
And Tom, if it wasn't for Joey, we wouldn't have the WPSL Christmas kids today. I mean, he's been deeply involved with that ever since the 60s. So
that I did not know, but that's good to hear.
Oh yeah.
So let me. I want to talk, and what I think each of you have some incredible strengths with the business, and through the years, I've worked with both of you. When I was in business, I bought things from both of you, and I appreciated your support when I was in business. But I'll start with Johnny, and because I tell you, Johnny, I've always been so impressed. And I think one of your greatest strengths is really, your ability to respond to the change in markets. I mean, I've always been so impressed. I mean, you really have been, and you touched on it, really have been such an innovator, when it comes to recognizing the shifts and responding. You and I have talked in the past, there was a time when you, like you said, and Joey mentioned it too, you were focused on the citrus industry. You were building those bodies and servicing those folks. And one time, and you can tell me if it was a mistake or not, but you were in the tractor business for a little while.
Mistake.
Yeah. Right. You were the Deutz dealer, I remember. And
we have 2 tractor guys in
yeah,
here?
we have 2 tractor guys.
Mistake.
No. Johnny was smarter than I was. So, yeah. Then you went into
I ran faster than the tractor would run.
Yeah. And then you got in the lift truck business, and now, like you said, I mean, now you've gone global. So, I mean, talk about, I want you to talk about that philosophy that you have, that really what guided you to become so innovative and reinvent yourself a number of times and get where you are today. I really think that's a strength of yours.
Well, let's talk about the man lift industry. That's the one that has really catapulted me into the being more of a national company. I saw the ladder, okay, that everybody saw, people climbing ladders, whether it's for trees, whether it's for working on signs, or whether it was cable vision, or whether, even the telephone company, okay. Now, last time you saw a guy climb a ladder was when, okay. So I saw that industry changing. Matter of fact, I built my first bucket truck for Perry Cable down in 1974 in Stuart, Florida. And that gave me an idea. I said, well, if this little company has to have that, what do the other ones got to have? Where is it going? In the 80s is when the aerial bucket business blossomed. Okay, the power companies have always had aerial buckets, but not the small sign companies, not the small cable companies, not the tree trimming people. They use ladders and all. And now, nobody even thinks about climbing a ladder. I mean, we have brought some product through design that I've done for taking care of the signs going down the street, like 35 mile an hour and the stop signs, to where you don't have to use a ladder. We got a truck that slides right out, and they can change the sign and everything without even getting out of the truck, and slides back in. So you don't have to use a ladder. The terrain around that sign is unstable. You lay a ladder up against it, and you just get your balance a little bit off. You're rolling off of it.
Right.
So,
well, and you talked about the tractor business, and we make a little fun of it, but you understood the concept. If something isn't working,
back out,
go.
Run.
Cut your losses. You
Yes.
see a snake, cut its head off, and move on. And I mean, that's a lot of people don't have that. They stick with something. They get emotional about it. But you didn't. You said, look, we've run the course. We're going to try something new, and it's been very impressive. I mean,
yeah, well, the first thing that you're going to find out is sales. Sales is going to direct you. What are you going to do? When the sales start tapering off, you got to look around. Where am I going wrong here? What's happening?
Right.
It's you don't sit there and drown with it. You got to deal.
Right.
You just jump off of it and say, hey, this is not working. Let's find another course.
Right.
And that's basically what I did. And I did find the lift industry, the man lift industry, to be a small industry. And actually, there's only like 4 or 5 manufacturers of aerial lift stuff in the United States that has to do truck mounted.
Right.
We're not talking about the ones that are using on job sites, the JLGs and etc. We're talking about truck mounted equipment.
Right. And Joey, I want to pose a question to you too. As I've talked about, Johnny's strength, it's just been so impressive through the years to see that, the way he responded to the market. And for me, Joey, St. Lucie Battery Tire, I think one of your greatest strengths is you really build this incredible team of people. You really have created an incredible culture of customer service. I mean, you pull up to St. Lucie Battery and Tire, you almost get knocked over by somebody running out, can I help you? So, again, talk about, how you did that. I mean, how did it all start? And how did you build that culture?
Well, it's real simple.
Oh, okay, good. Well, because we teach it every day in school,
Yeah.
but let's see.
You always lead by example.
Yeah.
It's real simple because, and Johnny knows, we're neighbors, and our hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I promise you.
Oh, half a day, huh?
Yeah, half a day.
Yeah, I've said that many times.
Yeah, well.
I've only worked a half a day.
And for first 30 years in business, I was the first guy on the job, and I was the last guy to leave. And it didn't matter if the floor needed to be swept, or the bathroom needed to be cleaned, or the trash cans needed to be emptied. I did it. I mean, I never asked anybody to do anything I wouldn't do myself. And I think that when you surround yourself with good folks, good people, and you set the basic example of how you want things done, and the customer is the ultimate, that's it. And the rest of it kind of fits in place. And there's a lot of good folks out there. As you know, we do have a lot of good people.
Right.
And that's what it takes, the magic touch. And Johnny's got some really
good
people.
Johnny's got great
both
people.
me and Joey have got employees. I got employees been with me 44 years.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and all the way, and 30 years, and 32 years.
Right.
And, you know, Joey and I both take care of our employees. I mean, my statement to the people is, you take care of the company will take care of you.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any other way to express that. I mean, we're all family. Joey's people are his family. My employees are my family, you know, and we feel when somebody's got a problem and they got to go take off, take care of it. You know, it's and I think when you run your company as a family, and everybody comes together and they take care of the business, we take care of them. I know Joey does with his people, and I do with mine.
Yeah.
You walk in Joey's store, they're all very happy to see you, you know, and the same way with my people. And you know, a company is known by the people it keeps. You go down the store, I don't see Joey there, but I see his man at the counter, okay? And you know, they treat you just like they know you.
I know.
And
and again,
and have for years.
Yeah.
I mean,
and again, and I agree. You know, Johnny, you've got just as good of people. I mean, you always they were great people. They took care of me, experienced, and that's what's nice. And when you go to either one of your places of business, there is a level of experience that you're comfortable with. Again, your products aren't inexpensive, you know, Johnny. So
no, they're not.
But you know what? When I bought a truck from you, I felt good about it, and I knew that the money was well spent, and there was a lot of value in that product. And
you not only buy the truck, you buy us. We're
that's
there
right.
with it.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right.
And that's the same way with Joey.
Same way with Joey.
You buy tires with Joey. You know, you didn't buy the tires. You bought Stainless Tire and Battery.
Let's talk real quickly too. Because both, as long as you've been around, they weren't all good times. I mean, there had to be some tough times. I mean, how do you get through the downturn in a business? I mean, you know, y'all been around long enough. The last recession wasn't your only recession.
No.
Right. So,
No.
you know, how do you deal as a businessman? How do you deal with the tough times? I mean,
You know, Joey was talking a while ago about for years, our business in the summer died. So how do you juggle people around? How do you how do you move things around? That's, you know, Fort Pierce was, and you know, a small town, and it was, you know, citrus and produce oriented. So and when it was gone, there went your people.
right.
And we all had to suck our wind in it. You know?
Right.
What am I doing now? I mean,
So maybe you get creative. You figure out something else you could sell. I mean, did it drive that kind of innovation for you when times got tough? Did you?
it did for Joey because that's
Absolutely. That's why
I
we
reached out.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason we increased our footprint, because you know what was happening in Fort Pierce may not be happening in Port St. Lucie. As Port St. Lucie grew, it's a different market, and Palm City is a different market from Port St. Lucie. Okeechobee is a market very similar to ours. Lots of agricultural people there, and it's a heavy ag location. But what, unfortunately, the business cycle doesn't treat us all fairly. You know, we may have a good year in the citrus business and everybody's happy, but you know, if we have a freeze or we have a change in pricing, all of a sudden your happy citrus grower's not too happy. If he's not getting paid enough to get his costs back, then all of a sudden he's on a serious budget. And
then you've got the canker problems and the
absolutely,
other
and the greening is an issue.
Yeah.
There may not be, unless they find a cure, there may not be any citrus in St. Lucie County in 10 more years. And hopefully they will find a cure for that.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. I hate to take a break because I'm enjoying all
do
this.
too.
I know, but
This show
but
could go another
we'll take it.
4
That's right.
hours.
Greg, can we go another hour?
Sure. Let's do it.
What's it cost me another hour?
It doesn't, but I mean, actually, we got Miami Heat basketball at 8 o'clock.
Miami
so we
Heat
can
basketball.
do that.
All right, we're going to take a break, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with Startup Talk from Indian River State College. And we are back. This is Startup Talk from Indian River State College, and tonight I have launched my new segment called the Treasure Coast Legends of Business, and do we have some legends with us tonight?
Yeah.
We got Mr. Joey Miller of St. Lucie Battery Tire, and we have Mr. Johnny Stamm of Stamm Manufacturing. Now, the first thing I asked you guys when I told you to come on the show was, first of all, I had to make sure you two were friends, too.
We've been neighbors. And
That's
friends
right. You never know
forever.
about this town, though. You go back, way back. I don't know, So
No,
I
I think
always,
Joey and I have loved doing business with each other for
okay,
years.
that's good. Well, I'm glad.
I just sold him a truck today, I think. Yes, I
Man.
did.
Okay.
Good.
Let me. We were talking about kind of, because again, you guys have been in business so long that the last recession wasn't the first one you ever saw. It may have been the worst, but it was a tough one. But you guys have seen a lot, and I guess one of the questions I want you both to answer is you've been in business a long time, so you kind of got this thing. You're like a well-oiled machine, but it doesn't get easier in business, does it? I mean, I used to tell people all the time that nobody ever walked into my office with good news. It was never good news. Hey, Tom, insurance rates are down 30%. They never came in with that.
Hey, Tom, you got a minute? No, it's, yeah.
Oh, the one I love. Guess what?
Yeah. Guess what? So talk about what are the challenges today in business. What do you see as the biggest challenges? What do you have to deal with every day? What advice do you give that person that's struggling out there to get started with a small business?
Well, if somebody's struggling and really wants to get started, they better make up their mind that if they're not willing to put in the extra time and effort, don't do it, because that's what it takes. If you want to make a 5-day-a-week job, opening your own business is not a 5-day-a-week job. Right. It's a 7-day-a-week job. And you'll get up in the middle of the night thinking about, how am I going to pay my bills? Or,
right.
I got this problem I need to fix, and how am I going to fix that? And you're not only dealing with the customers, you're dealing with your people, with their issues and problems sometimes. So it's completely different. And 40 years ago, your insurance costs were minuscule compared to what they are today. And don't forget, as an employer, when you have one of the biggest expenses is payroll, and don't forget that the employer is responsible for 50% of your Social Security and your Medicare payments, which is about 9%. And so if for every dollar you pay an employee, there's 9% added immediately, and then you add another 8% for workers' comp, and probably another. Well, it's real simple.
It's a lot.
Now we're all depressed, Joey. Okay.
Yeah, it's not depressed. It's the truth. So, if you really need to figure that if you have whatever your payroll number is going to be, you better add 25% to it, because that's what your net costs are going to be, and that's just real life.
And it's not just recessions. You guys both were involved in the widening of Orange Avenue out here.
Oh yeah.
Which obviously had to affect both of your businesses.
We counteracted that. We had 2 or 3 service trucks on call, and a customer, especially a good fleet customer that had a breakdown, instead of him bringing his piece of equipment to us, we went to him, and we did it at no charge, because he was being inconvenienced, and we wanted to naturally keep his business, so we'd go to his yard or his field, and we'd take care of the problem. And so for the 2 years or whatever it took, yeah, it cost us money, but we kept our customer base, and that's the key.
You adapted.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Yeah, you have to. You have to.
And the people that built Orange Avenue were very good about special things, keeping the road open or pushing the driveway around, and I think it went kind of smooth, but we did have some interruptions. Nothing real big.
Joey, you talked about one of the things you said. The hours, obviously, big issue. If you start a business, you're going to have to be fully committed, and you're going to have to be there, 24/7. But you talked about your early career. You were a farmer. Then on the side, you were doing the work to build the batteries. And I think that's also, an issue too that a new startup or an entrepreneur or somebody's got to understand too. We try to teach that concept that you may have to do all the jobs for a while.
That's true.
You may have to be the bookkeeper. You may have to be the salesperson. You got to clean the shop at the end of the day. So, again, talk a little bit about that, both of you. That I'm sure that at some point in your career, you were doing all those jobs in your small business.
I was twisting wrenches. I was running a welder. I was bending steel. We tried building utility bodies, becoming big with that. We did that for about 4 years, and I bent the metal in the shop and laid it out, and like I said, welded on the bodies, and so there's nothing in that shop with machinery wise that we have in there that I can't run.
Right.
And so just from sweeping the floor to empty the garbage can, I don't care.
Right.
It all pays the same to me.
Right. So again, Joey, same concept for you. You
Oh, absolutely.
You probably mounted your share of tires.
Oh, I mounted lots of tires, and I installed lots and lots of batteries, and I've done it all. I've done it all. I mean, this didn't start out with we're going to open the doors and I'm going to hire a salesman and a counter person and a bookkeeper. Your comment was exactly right. I did the work during the day and sold the merchandise. I rebuilt batteries till 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd leave at 7 in the morning to go deliver them. And I tell my friends and my kids now what I did, and they just laughed. They said, "There's no way you did all that." But it was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. It was, I had a lot of energy back then.
Yeah.
If I got 3 or 4 hours sleep, I was in good shape.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was to take off on Saturday, except for I'm going to tell you the last maybe 3 or 4 years. But up till then, my number one day was being to work on Saturday, because we moved on Saturday. We turned a lot of merchandise and saw a lot of people, and things had to be right.
And it's funny you talk about Saturday too. I was at a business today. Now, they've traditionally always been open on Saturday. So I guess they sold and they've got new owners, new management. They're closed on Saturday. And when I went in today, I said, "Are you going to be open? Are you going to be open tomorrow?" Of course, holiday. And they said no. And I said, "You're going to be open on Saturday?" "No, we've started closing on Saturdays." And I thought to myself, how do working people get anything done? And I've always appreciated the fact that St. Lucie Battery Tire is open on Saturdays, because, when am I going to go take my wife's car to get a set of tires? I'm going to have to do it on Saturday morning. So, I've always appreciated the fact that you were open on Saturday and that you could go in there and get something done, because it's tough when you're trying to work and earn a living during the week.
That's very true. Very true.
So,
how many employees does St. Lucie Battery and Tire have now with all the locations?
135.
Wow.
Yep.
And started with you.
That's it. Yeah. And then my brother helped me, and then my brother was with me till he retired.
Right.
Walt was with me till he retired.
Yep.
And you can go to my main store, and you can see that I have some of my counter people. Salespeople have been there for 20, 25 years. My number one mechanic has been with me for 35 years.
Who's the young man that's on your front counter?
Kenny.
Kenny. God, how long has Kenny been there?
25 years.
Yeah, gotta be. Yeah, because I've seen Kenny every time I've been there, and I've been going there for 40 years.
He's an amazing boy too. He really is. He's wonderful. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. If you want to grow your business, that's what it takes. And then to grow your business, and Johnny can tell you the same thing, that's why the good Lord gave you one mouth and two ears. You listen twice as much as you talk.
That's right.
Well, some people do.
Yeah. And you have to always listen to your customer. A comment that was made to me years ago said, just pay attention to your customer. They'll tell you when to quit growing, or they'll tell you when you need to change. Yeah. And the most important thing is to listen. And I try very diligently to do that 99% of the time. Yeah. Because my customer is golden. That's the way I feel about it.
And what's interesting too, again, about both your businesses is such a, with such humble beginnings, you've grown, you've had no choice but to, while you're still very much, involved in the business. And again, I've never been in Stamm manufacturing. I can't find Johnny. There's never been a time I can't find you at St. Lucie Battery Tire. But you have grown these things to the point where they've gotten complex. They've gotten complicated. Mm-hmm. Computers, inventory control, receivables. We talked about receivables. I mean, that's a big issue, the turning your cash. And so, how do you manage in our last couple minutes, just how do you manage that, the growth and keeping that hometown, feel with the business and keeping those characteristics that you really founded the business on? Each of you kind of address that.
Well, a lot of it is wrapped around the employees that you have. They're the backbone of the company. I mean, we assist them when they need us, and we hope that we gave them good guidance while the company was growing, and keep them in mind that the customer is what keeps the cash flow running. Right. You got to keep them coming in the door. You got to keep them coming back, and as long as you keep the customers coming back and you keep your employees focused on the company grows. Yeah. It's like watering a flower. If you keep watering it, you keep nurturing it, it'll grow. Right. And that's the way the business is.
Joey, you again, big business, but still a hometown feel at your business.
Well, that's the way business should be done. Sometimes in this crazy world we live in, with everything's bigger and sometimes not better. Attitudes change, but I feel strongly that we are a local company. We try to spend most of our money locally to support the local community. We're very involved in the community efforts, as Greg knows quite well, and we want to be. We made our livelihood in this community. This is our home. And we invest back in our community any time and every time we can.
Yep. I'll never forget seeing a St. Lucie Battery and Tire truck full of basketballs and footballs and stuff, and it was just brimming with this stuff for the Christmas kids, and that's happened several years. As a matter of fact, it's amazing.
Well, as we bring this to a close, which I hate to do because I've enjoyed it, but again, I just want to say again, it has always been an honor, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity through my years in business to purchase products from both of you. You know what, I always felt good about spending my money at both of your establishments. You guys are great examples of what can be done when you stick to the plan and you work the plan, and you persevere. And you guys have obviously persevered through tough times and enjoyed some good times. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you reinvesting, taking the profits and reinvesting in this community, building buildings, doing the right thing by the community. Each of you probably could have at some point taken a little money and walked, but you stuck with the business and you kept people employed, and I just am proud to say I know you both and did business with both of you. So thanks again for this evening. So
thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
And,
yes, we enjoyed it.
We live in paradise, so it'd be hard to leave.
All right, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to another segment of Startup Talk. I thank Joey Miller and Johnny Stamm for coming out tonight, and remind everyone that all the business assistance programs discussed tonight are available through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute at Indian River State College. For more information on that program and all we got going on, visit irscbiz.com. And as always, I want to thank Greg and our partners here at WPSL and WSTU and WPSL TV. And as always, our good friend Michelle Abaldo at the Institute of Advancement at Indian River State College. And with that, we'll talk to you next Thursday evening on Startup Talk.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, Talk of the Treasure Coast, WSTU, Martin County's Heritage Station, and WPSL TV, webcaster to the world on YouTube.